Most seniors believe that taking more supplements will make them healthier, but nearly 1 in 4 who take 4 or more pills a day are facing dangerous hidden risks like fatigue, poor sleep, or even heart rhythm issues. But there is hope, because in this episode we're uncovering when these supplements serve you and when they start to work against you. Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast. Today, we're exploring 3 of the most common supplements seniors rely on daily, and asking a critical question to Japan's oldest doctor: should you really take them forever? Because according to research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, high-dose vitamin D3 can remain in the body for months, raising the risk of dangerously high blood calcium levels in older adults. And when those side effects mimic natural aging, it means years of lost time, wrong diagnoses, and missed opportunities to stay healthy. Joining us today is a man whose century of care has shaped generations. Still practicing at over 100 years old, his insights don't just teach, they transcend time. Please welcome Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara.
Thank you, John. But here's what no one's saying. Most people don't know when their body has had enough. They don't stop. They just keep swallowing pills every day, not because their body needs them, but because someone once told them it was healthy.
That's the exact problem. I have had so many patients doing that. And if you are listening right now, tell us if you have faced this confusion yourself and where you are watching from. We would love to know.
The hidden risk is that these nutrients, while essential, are often taken without rhythm or awareness. Seniors especially are told to keep going endlessly, so when the body begins to resist or show discomfort, the signs are brushed aside as natural aging. This confusion has become so common that real warning signals are ignored, while people live with fatigue or poor sleep unnecessarily. So today we will carefully walk through the 3 supplements most often misused: vitamin D3, magnesium, and vitamin K2. We'll explore what science from both America and Japan tells us about when to pause, when to continue, and how to listen to your body's signals. And if you stay with us until the end, you'll not only know the science, but you'll also understand how to personalize these decisions for a longer, sharper, and stronger life.
So what you're saying is that the symptoms may be very real, but if we misunderstand the cause, we end up chasing the wrong solution?
Exactly, John. And that is why in this episode we'll break down the 3 key supplements one by one, uncovering their benefits, their hidden risks, and the safe strategies seniors can use to get the best of them without falling into the trap of overload. Stay with us, because by the end, you'll have a clear map for making these supplements work for you, not against you.
You know, this reminds me of my own aunt. She had been taking vitamin D every single day for years, certain it was keeping her strong, yet what she actually felt was more fatigue and more joint aches than before. At first, the family thought it was just age creeping in, but when we adjusted her dosage and gave her body a short break, it was like someone turned the lights back on in her life.
That's exactly how it happens. People think the supplement is protecting them, when in fact their body has been quietly asking for a reset.
So let's start with the very first question that confuses most seniors. Should you really cycle your supplements, or is it safer to stay on them forever?
Cycling supplements means giving the body a chance to reset its natural balance, rather than overwhelming it with constant input. Just as we sleep after activity or rest between exercise, the body benefits from periods without external nutrients. The danger arises when people forget that nutrients can also disrupt, not just repair.
So you're saying the very thing meant to support health can end up blocking the body's own rhythm?
Exactly, and this is especially true with fat-soluble vitamins like D3, which linger in the body long after a pill is swallowed. When seniors take it daily without testing, their calcium levels can creep upward quietly.
That's frightening, because most people assume fatigue or poor sleep is just a normal part of aging.
Yes, and those subtle signs are often the body's way of asking for balance. The tragedy is that too many dismiss them instead of questioning their daily habits.
And for someone listening who has been taking supplements for years, how would they even know where to begin?
The first step is awareness, John. Recognize that supplements are tools, not guarantees, and they must fit the unique biology of the person.
That sounds more like personal medicine than the one-size-fits-all approach most supplement ads promote.
It is. In fact, Japanese studies with natto show that diet can provide long-term support for vitamin K2 without the same risks we see when people rely only on pills. And in America, soil depletion has made magnesium deficiency common, yet the solution isn't endless capsules, it's understanding what the body truly absorbs.
So if I'm hearing this right, the cycle is less about on and off and more about listening and adjusting.
Correct. Supplements are like a conversation with your body. Sometimes you speak, sometimes you listen. Too much talking and you drown out the response that could save your health.
And that hits home because I've seen so many seniors, including in my own family, waste years chasing solutions that were right in front of them. They thought age was stealing their energy, when it was often a nutrient imbalance creating the fog. That's why in our next section we need to look closely at the first supplement in question, vitamin K2, because it shows us how one small compound can protect the heart and bones, but also how easy it is to misunderstand its role.
Vitamin K2 is often overlooked, yet it acts like the traffic officer of calcium, directing it into bones and teeth, rather than leaving it to harden arteries. Without enough K2, even strong doses of calcium and vitamin D3 can backfire, fueling vascular calcification instead of preventing it. This is why cultures that eat K2-rich foods, like natto in Japan, show far less arterial stiffness than seniors in the West.
That makes me wonder, could it be that many seniors are faithfully taking calcium and vitamin D, but actually harming their arteries without knowing?
Yes, and that's the paradox. Supplements we take for bone strength may, in the absence of K2, quietly undermine the heart.
So the solution isn't to abandon supplements altogether, but to understand the partnerships they require?
Precisely. D3 and calcium need K2 to complete the puzzle, otherwise the body misplaces the building blocks. The science is clear, but the message hasn't reached enough older adults.
And are most people deficient in K2 simply because they don't eat fermented foods like natto?
That is a major reason. Western diets rarely provide meaningful amounts of K2, so deficiency is widespread even in otherwise health-conscious people.
It almost feels unfair. You can be eating well, exercising, doing everything right and still be missing this hidden piece.
That's why long-term studies in Japan are so powerful. They show seniors eating natto daily retain stronger bones and lower fracture risk, while also maintaining cleaner arteries. And unlike fat-soluble D3, K2 has not been shown to cause toxicity, even with long use.
Which means the bigger danger isn't overdose but neglect, failing to realize you need it at all. And that's where I think many listeners will be surprised, because what seems like a bone problem could also be a circulation problem. It makes sense then to start here, and from this foundation move toward magnesium, the mineral that nearly half of older adults are missing, and yet are often told they can pause without consequence.
Magnesium is different from K2 in one crucial way. It is water-soluble, which means any extra is flushed out daily through the kidneys. Yet despite that, almost half of seniors are deficient, leaving them vulnerable to muscle cramps, irregular sleep, and even anxiety that looks like simple aging. What worries me most is that many older adults don't realize that soil depletion and processed diets make it almost impossible to meet their magnesium needs through food alone.
So it isn't just about the supplement bottle, it's about the modern food chain itself falling short.
Yes, exactly. Decades ago, vegetables grown in richer soil provided far more magnesium than they do now.
And what happens when someone decides to pause magnesium the way they might with vitamin D?
Often within days, the body begins to remind them. Sleep becomes restless, energy dips, and heart rhythm may start to feel unstable.
That almost sounds like a cruel trick. Stop taking it and your own body punishes you quickly.
It's not a punishment, but a signal. The body depends on magnesium for more than 300 chemical reactions, and when it is missing, every system feels the strain.
So would you say magnesium is one of the few supplements that most people should not cycle at all?
For those with healthy kidneys, yes, magnesium is safe to continue daily. The exception is those with advanced kidney disease, because they cannot clear the excess effectively.
And that's such an important nuance. What is healing for one person can be risky for another, and without guidance it's easy to miss the difference. What strikes me most is how quickly people notice when magnesium slips away, which tells us just how vital it is. That sets us up perfectly to move into vitamin D3, because unlike magnesium, this nutrient lingers in the body, and that creates a whole different set of challenges.
Vitamin D3 is unlike magnesium because it is fat-soluble, meaning it stays stored in fat tissue and the liver for weeks or even months. That storage is helpful when sunlight is scarce, but it also means that too much D3 builds up silently. Seniors who take high doses every day without checking their blood levels may be unknowingly raising their calcium to dangerous levels.
So a person could feel fine on the outside, but inside their body that excess calcium is slowly causing damage?
Yes, John, and that is why vitamin D is sometimes called a hormone rather than a simple vitamin. It regulates thousands of genes, including those involved in bone health, immunity, and heart function.
Then how do you explain the fact that some people swear they feel better on higher doses while others quickly run into side effects?
The difference comes from skin color, age, and even geography. Someone living in a sunny climate absorbs vitamin D differently than someone in a northern city during winter.
That must make one-size-fits-all recommendations almost meaningless for seniors.
It does. A dose that is safe for one person could become toxic for another, which is why blood testing is so essential.
But many seniors rarely get those tests unless something seems wrong, correct?
That is the problem. Without checking 25-hydroxyvitamin D levels, people are left guessing and often overshoot what their body really needs.
And what are some of the warning signs that their body is already carrying too much?
Fatigue that lingers despite rest, digestive upset like nausea or constipation, or even disturbances in sleep and mood can all be signs. These symptoms are often blamed on aging or stress, so the real cause is overlooked.
So the danger isn't just the physical changes, it's the way those changes are misread, leaving people untreated or wrongly treated.
Exactly, John. And research in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition shows that vitamin D levels can remain elevated for weeks after stopping supplements, which means cycling is a smart strategy for many. It gives the body time to release what it has stored, preventing overload while still protecting the benefits.
That really drives the point home. The body isn't a machine you just keep filling with fuel. It's a living system that can overflow. And that makes me think we should slow down here and talk through the clearest warning signs of supplement overload, so that listeners know when their body is quietly waving a red flag before it's too late.
The earliest red flag is often unexplained fatigue, the kind where someone says, "I'm taking my vitamins, yet I feel more drained than ever." That is not just aging, it can be the liver working overtime to process what has accumulated. Another common sign is digestive discomfort, like alternating constipation and diarrhea, which people rarely connect back to their supplements.
It's almost ironic. The very pills taken to bring energy or balance can quietly do the opposite.
Yes, and another overlooked signal is poor sleep. Magnesium can help sleep if taken in the right form and at the right time, But if misused, or if D3 runs too high, the circadian rhythm itself becomes disrupted.
And that makes people think they need even more supplements, creating a cycle of trial and error.
Exactly. The heart also speaks loudly when minerals are imbalanced. Palpitations, skipped beats, or a pounding sensation that gets brushed off as stress.
That must be frightening because those symptoms could also be signs of something far more serious.
True, and that is why it is so dangerous when these effects are mistaken for normal aging. Instead of being investigated, they are endured.
So the real danger is not just the symptoms themselves, but the way they disguise the root problem.
Yes. And in my century of practice, I've seen countless patients live in needless discomfort because no one asked whether their supplements might be playing a role. These signs are the body's quiet plea to step back and reassess.
And that really underlines why this conversation matters, because if we ignore these small alarms, we miss the chance to protect ourselves before real damage sets in. Which brings us perfectly to the closing reflection on how seniors can use awareness and testing, not guesswork, to keep supplements as allies rather than hidden enemies.
John, what I hope every listener takes away is that supplements are not the enemy, but neither are they a guarantee. They are tools, and like any tool, they work best when used wisely, with awareness of timing, dosage, and the body's own signals. If seniors can embrace that mindset, they will not only avoid harm, but unlock the real benefits these nutrients were meant to provide.
That's such an empowering perspective, and I think many people listening right now are realizing that their supplement cabinet may need more thought than habit. What you're saying is that health doesn't come from swallowing the same pill every morning, but from paying attention to how your body responds. I'd love for you to leave our audience with one concise line they can carry with them, something to remind them tomorrow morning when they reach for those bottles. What would that be?
Supplements should support your body, not replace its wisdom. When in doubt, pause, test, and listen before you continue.
That's practical and inspiring. Longevity isn't about piling on more, but about balance at every stage of life. For those listening, please check our new channel with our new guest, Barbara O'Neill. Subscribe to the new channel and watch the first episode here.